gratification in his body. But when he sees that others have something for which their senses, for which their sense gratification, so that yeah. But when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification, and he doesn't, he is sorry and envious. When he is expecting some retaliation from an enemy, he is in a state of fear. And when he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. A devotee who is always transcendental to all these disturbances is very dear to Krishna. I say, you say the whole rest. Oh, he by whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equiposed in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. So one may wonder, is it because one is dear to Krishna that he is not disturbed by anything? Or is it because he is always transcendental that he is dear to Krishna? Which is it? They are simultaneous. They are simultaneous. When we become Krishna conscious, naturally, we know when Krishna is in control. Anything that is happening to me is because of my karma, or because he has some purpose. When I was younger, I watched the Zeffirelli production of Jesus of Nazareth, although it was Jewish, several times. There was a favorite scene where Pontius Pilate tells Christ, you see, what's Christ answer a question? And he says, don't you realize that I can liberate you or have you crucified? Christ's response was, you could not have any power over me if my Father had not given it to you. Which must have made Pontius Pilate feel kind of good. But the same God that he was worshiping, Jesus was worshiping, was giving him the authority. It's all coming from the one same God. So, I have so many mystic cities. Balavad, Sukhi, I am powerful and I'm happy. So I was at Maharishi International University once. My wife was very fond of going there. And was in the student union building. We had a blackboard, and everyone would write. things on the blackboard. So I wrote it. Ishwaro ham hambogi, sito ham malavatsuki. No, they all liked it. They all liked, oh, I am God. I am the enjoyer. I am a siddha. I'm a perfect, I'm powerful and happy. But that's how the demons think. The devotees think Krishna is the controller. Krishna is the enjoyer. Krishna is the most perfected of all beings. He is the most powerful. And Lord Nityananda is unlimitedly, eternally blissful. But Krishna is never, what's the word? He's never greedy. It's not that he just wants to enjoy everything for himself. What is his enjoyment? His enjoyment is to reciprocate with his devotees according to their surrender. When Krishna sees that we are serving his devotee nicely, then he becomes very pleased. Krishna tells Maharaj Yudhisthira that whoever says that he is my devotee, he is not my devotee. But whoever is the devotee of my devotee, he is my real devotee. So that is the mood in the spiritual world. Everyone is eager to serve others. In the material world, everyone is eager to have others serve me. So we have a service because we've been granted so much mercy by our Guru, the previous acharyas, by Lord Chaitanya. Our service is to take up the mission of Lord Chaitanya and the mission of our Guru. Everywhere you go, everyone you meet, you tell them about Krishna. I haven't done it lately, but I used to always like to carry a few small books with me. And if I'd go somewhere to buy something or any situation where I had some kind of soulful exchange with someone where they were obliged to be polite, I would just say, here, I'm giving these books all around the world wherever I go. And they're obliged. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. It made so much advancement. And then Bhaktisiddhanta, if we distribute just one book a day, if someone distributed even one book a day, Bhaktisiddhanta was very pleased. I haven't done it in a while. I have to get back into the habit. You just carry some books with you, a book bag, small. Women have it easy. They have purses. And as we help others to become Krishna conscious, we become Krishna conscious. If I tell you, yes, sometimes I'm very happy and sometimes I'm not so happy. But by experience, I know that if I practice sadhana bhakti and if I associate with the devotees and I take prasadam and I study Srimad Bhagavatam and I worship Tulsi, and actually Lord Chaitanya, if we do those five things, Lord Chaitanya considers us to be pure devotees. But there are different kinds of pure devotees. There's the Nityasiddha, always perfected in devotional service. If it comes to the material world, it's simply to assist the Lord in his pastimes. And then the next is the sadhana siddha. We are working on becoming sadhana-siddhas by practicing regulated devotional service. But we're also considered siddhas, just like if you have a solid gold box, gold box. What if you have a silver box and you cover it with gold so that the light shines through? We still call it a gold box. And if you have a wooden box that is covered with gold, we still call it a gold box. But the difference is that the solid gold box, if it is handled, you use it a lot, the gold never wears off. I mean, if we have a silver box coated with gold, and you handle it around a lot, then the silver might start to show through, which is not so bad. And if we have a wooden gold box, then the gold might wear off, and then we see the wood underneath. So if that is our nature, that we are not nityasiddhas, and we have to engage in regulated devotional service to keep coating that gold box. And how is it that we are able to practice devotional service, to rise early in the morning and to worship the spiritual master and to worship the deity and to worship Tulsi and to chant 16 rounds a day? Prabhupada originally asked us to do 64, that was the standard, and no one could do it. So then he went down to 32. All right, 16. Oh, yes, Prabhupada. So the standard became 16 rounds a day, at least 16 rounds a day. One time I heard that Prabhupada was chanting, joking with his disciples, and he said, now I'm finished my rounds. Now I am free to do all nonsense. But no, we're the gold-plated box. We have to keep in the fire. And there's an unlimited number of services that we can do. Prabhupada was extremely pleased when we distributed his books. But my experience in distributing books was that I wasn't too good at it. And I didn't like being disrespected by people. Too much. I would pray. Let me try to be humble. Please let them take a book, please. But I just didn't have the need. So therefore, it was an anxiety. Or we were always afraid the police may come and take us to jail. Sometimes we were put into jail distributing books. We were not complete, but then we knew the philosophy. Krishna will protect you. So we would chant, and sure enough, he would always protect us. Mother Kunti prayed. She was Krishna's aunt, but family relationship. She was saying that, my dear Lord, we were always being put into trouble. We were in a burning house of lack. And, I can't remember other circumstances, but always they were put into trouble, great anxiety. But she said, as far as I'm concerned, I want to be put into trouble again and again and again. Why? Because whenever we are in distress, you come to save us. And seeing you, my Lord, we will never see repeated birth and death in this material world. So we take risks. We're willing to take risks. So service, take the risk that our feelings might be hurt. Or stay up vegetables in the kitchen and washing the pots and pans. Is not who wants to do that all day long. As we become transcendental, it becomes very nice. there were a couple other things that I wanted to say. He by whom no one is to put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equiposed in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. So now I'm a little bit distressed because I can't think what am I going to say next. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, tasmitir jnanam apohanam sha. So if I'm forgetting what to say next, that Krishna's was. It's like Arjuna was put into distress on the battlefield. Before the battle, they'd done everything to make a compromise with Duryodhana. And even begged, they told our cousin, you can have the whole kingdom. First, they want to share the kingdom. They were entitled to the kingdom. It was their right. All right, we'll give you half the kingdom. And then they asked just for 5 villages because they are kshatriyas. They had to rule. That's their nature. And Duryodhana told his mother, Gandharvi, he said, I will not give them enough land to fit under the head of a pin. I know how to dramatize that line because I played that part in front of Srila Prabhupada, the players. And when you do method acting, you try to think of something. I can't imagine being the emperor of the whole world. But my internal dialogue was that I wouldn't give tiny anything. That was my inner dialogue. I was so utterly disgusted. I could just feel this. I was going off the stage, and I was really the character still felt great. But at the same time, it did feel great because I knew I could feel that Prabhupada was really getting into the mood of the place. So I was anxiety, being put down. But because I was engaging in the pleasure, for the pleasure of the Lord's devotee, I was transcendental. Felt transcendental. In that same play, I played Narad Muni. And even before I came on the stage, Papa was sitting there. He wasn't happy. That was because he knew what Narad Muni's mission was. Somehow he knew what the next scene would be. But um, although I prayed like anything to Narad Muni to please help me with this part, and although Lokamangla, who was playing Kamsa, no, it was Lokamangla who played Kamsa. He played Maharaj Yudhishthira. I don't remember who was playing Kamsa. That actor, he also didn't feel great reverence when I appeared as Narad Muni. But an actor, you just connect. So it's the same with us. We might not feel, or very often we don't feel like doing any more chanting or any more devotional service. When Srila Prabhupada first came to, well, it wasn't the first time, it was the first time I was with Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles. A lot of you may have heard me talk about this morning. There was a big backlog of books, and Prabhupada was very eager to get them published and distributed. So there was a great call that rang out to all the Iskcon centers. We need people, translators, um, artists, typesetters, come and just produce these books. So I had studied Sanskrit with Dr. Mishra, the same Dr. Ramamurti Mishra, who's in Prabhupada Lilamrita. And I really loved Sanskrit. I couldn't do it too much because I was going on Sankirtan, and I wasn't too good at it. I wasn't too good at it, and I didn't like it too much. But the beautiful thing was when we go home, when we'd hear class, it was so sweet. So I want to do it. I don't want to do it. Do it anyway. How can we do it? I really don't want to do this. I don't want to chant anymore. Enough. It's getting late. I saw 3 months ago. I'm just not going to. Oh, and Prabhupada came that time. I was maybe 6 months in the movement. You know. And because of Prabhupada's presence, when I would sit down to chant, after a few rounds, I started to feel I I don't want to do this. I just keep want to do this. And I had learned how to meditate, and dhyana samadhi, how to fix the mind, yeah, on one thought, one object, one activity, and then how to completely merge oneself into that activity, just like a violinist. Practice, 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 practice. But when he's performing, he just him and music become non-different. So I was chanting like that, and it happened day after day after day. And then one day, during the Srimad Bhagavatam class, Srila Prabhupada looked at me from Vyasa-san, and he said, "So, one day you may find that you have no desire to chant Hare Krishna, and you have no desire to go in service." I was really shocked because at that point in time, I didn't think that would be possible. I really thought this is it. I'm going back to God. He's going to chant forever. This is great. So he said, if that happens, just simply approach Mother Radharani. We can approach her on the altar. We can approach her through a painting. We can approach her through her holy name, Radha Krishna, just by thought. There's no limitations. There's no circumstances keep us apart. So if we could approach her and try to be a little humble. I'm not humble. I'm not really sincere. But anyway, if you could just please, please let me chant just one more round. And I'm really exhausted, but it's too early to take rest. So much has to be done. So please let me just do a little bit more. Prabhupada said, if you can get a taste for that, you'll never fall down. That makes sense. If we can get a taste for um, doing our service, you don't want to. We can have to actually experience a little bit of taste. We kind of like it. Then we'll never fall down. But then she said something which was even so much more amazing. He said, actually, that is the highest taste. I'm not at that level. I still like it when I was just totally absorbed in wanting nothing else but to hear the holy names. I haven't been there in a long time. I remember in Vrindavan, I was there one time, and there was this elderly gentleman, he could have been Prabhupada's godmother, and he was chanting Hare Krishna. But his mood and expression was that maybe 10,000 years ago, Krishna had told him, "You sit here and chant Hare Krishna." And he was sitting there, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. He had no hope that Krishna was ever going to show up, but Krishna had told him to do that. He was hoping against all hope. And then there was a young devotee there, younger than me, and he was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. I do like that often because my mind wanders like anything. I can do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Hare for about 5 minutes. My mind is all over the place, and because I'm a trained actor, I can emotionalize, dance a little bit, and that entertains my mind. The beauty is, though, if you act as if you're enthusiastic, you start to feel enthusiastic. And if we act as though we're relishing the names, we start to relish the names. One time I was in Los Angeles and Srila Dayananda, it was his turn to speak. And while I was approaching the Dasa, he said, I know you all think I'm humble, but actually I'm not at all humble. I felt like saying to him, well, then just act like you're humble. But that wouldn't have been appreciated. It was not Vaishnava etiquette. But if if I had said it and he accepted it, that would have taken humility. So sadhana bhakti is devotional service in practice. But gradually, we develop a real taste, ruchi. Krishna is not at all attracted to sadhana bhakti. That stuff doesn't. What he wants is our love. He wants us to feel spontaneous attraction, just as a young boy is attracted to a young girl. Second, and a young girl is attracted to a young boy. Right. In that same instantaneous way, one devotee was praying, "Dear Lord, let me be attracted to your lotus feet." No one has to motivate me. That Krishna can't resist that. Prabhupada was always stressing book distribution. And the book distributors were always asking, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? If you distribute my books. Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? Oh, if you distribute my books. Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? That you distribute my books. But one time, one disciple, book distributor, said, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? I thought he was going to know the answer. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, if you love Krishna. So to do something you don't want to do, but because you know you should, is a kind of love. Even if you do it and you're afraid of the consequence, right? That's also a kind of love. But we want that kind of love that we just really want to do it for we really want to do some service to please them. And nothing can stop us. Nothing can deter us. Happiness, distress, fear, anxiety, nothing can deter us. That kind of love, that kind of devotion is called prema. Rupa Goswami defines prema. Before I read it, I was always thinking that prema meant something like cream, the cream of the milk that rises to the top. It is. But the actual meaning is that I don't care what you've done, I love you. It's like a mother, her son's in jail. I don't care what you've done. That kind of love is prema. When he writes, when between two persons there is every reason for separation, but separation does not occur. That is praying. Krishna would make the gopis broken-hearted because he wouldn't be there with him. And sometimes they would hear Krishna's flute, one would hear Krishna's flute, and she'd become completely distracted for her relatives, very embarrassed. And she would curse the flute, but she could not give up her love for the flute. The gopis would complain that Krishna's a debauch. There's one verse by Rupa Goswami. If you are all attached to family and friends, social relations in this world, then do not go to see that young boy standing by the playing his flute. Because if we go, we won't be able to help ourselves. We will just absolutely fall in love with him and all of his devotees. So Krishna will not fully reveal himself to us until he knows that we are prepared to do that. There's a song popular in the 60s. To know him, to love him, just to see his smile makes my life worthwhile. It's to know him, it's to love him. Why do famous song? She didn't know she was actually singing about Krishna. All the love relations we have in this world, we're looking for a loving relationship with Krishna. But because it's converted, we're trying to please our own senses. We're not trying to please Krishna. Ultimately, it degenerates in so many divorces. I heard recently that this year there were more divorces in California than there were marriages. So we'll stop there. Are there any questions? Please.
We were talking about the importance of serving devotees.
Yes, I was talking about the importance of serving devotees.
So I recall that what is the difference between serving the Lord directly and serving him? How can it be accepted? For example, we can see the Pujari. Most of the day they are involved in serving the Lord directly. Whereas some other devotees, maybe someone is a personal assistant of the yeah. We serving. So how is it accepted by Lord? Where we try out?
So his question is that most of the time we're not serving Krishna directly. We're following the order of the spiritual minister. But the pujaris, they are worshiping the Lord directly. How they feeling? Therefore, because usually they're feeling pretty good. I um I never was able to receive biblical initiation. That's a long story. So I never could go on the altar. I used to just dance. I get very inspired by dancing. I was an actor. I preferred to be dancing. My friend said that, oh, I should really go on the altar. It's so blissful. You know. And the situation that came, perhaps in some situation, what happens if you're going to leave your body, And everything would be very nice to you're worshiping the deity and then leave your body. But I said, I'd rather be dancing. So they smiled. Dancing and acting, they're generally those who perform that, they're coming from the Shudra community. Unless, of course, you write a play and produce a play, then you're coming from the Brahmana community to know how to teach others. So I never got to direct. Well, I think, yeah, one play I can think of. Yeah, one play. So your question was about what to do. What's really better? Should I directly serve Krishna, or should I serve his servants? So why are the pujaris doing the same thing day after day? month after month, year after year. So many tiny little detailed things. Why are they doing that? Are they doing it because Krishna is smiling at them? No, they're doing it because it's the order of the spiritual master. But of course, if we're following the order of the spiritual master, then by the mercy of Guru and Galinga, we get that taste. We get that taste, we lose that taste. That's our present condition. I mentioned before Maharaj Yudhisthira. Maharaj Yudhisthira was talking about serving Krishna directly. That was Krishna was coming and staying in their home just like an ordinary person. Great sages would come to see how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is staying with the Pandavas just as if he were an ordinary person who was a subordinate to Maharaj Yudhisthira. What was the rest of that talk? So we shouldn't hanker for, oh yes. Krishna said, whoever says that he is my devotee, he is not my devotee. But whoever is the servant of my devotee, he is the real devotee. Prabhupada often said that my only qualification is that I am serving the order of my Guru Maharaj. And I'm not making any interpretations or alterations. If I have any good quality, that is presenting it just as it is. And when we go out and we distribute books, or going shopping and we have a book and we give it to the salesperson and they have to say, oh, thank you. Mhm. Then you get that wonderful result that I just talked about. Very good question. So, are there any other questions?
Honestly, we all are unfortunate that we never met Prabhupada.
Can you say that louder?
Yeah, we all are very unfortunate. We never met Srila Prabhupada.
Saying um, that we are all very unfortunate because we never met Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada. But yeah, of course, we have listened him on YouTube.
Of course, we have. What?
Through YouTube, we get a chance to, listen him, his suggestions, instructions.
So, we get a chance to worship him through his instruction.
Yes. But I found to hear something interesting from you person who you met with him personally. And whenever you start to do about Srila Prabhupada, what is the first thing that hits your mind?
Well, I remember the first time I met Srila Prabhupada. I was a student at the University of Florida, and I was an avid reader. And I went to the bookstore. I was just perusing the books and was kind of interested in India. And then I saw Bhagavad Gita as it is, the old edition with just a line drawing of Vishnu. And I saw, oh, it was very attractive. Some from previous um, contact with the Vedic culture, and see, I just look, oh, that's God. He's God. So I opened it up and started reading. There was an introduction by Allen Ginsberg, and so it didn't make me too happy because Allen Ginsberg was very famous, but he was also notorious. I won't go into why, but his moral character was not to be admired. So it was a little disappointing. And I opened up pages and I started to read it. There was no Sanskrit there. And I was thinking, there should be some Sanskrit here, so we can know you're not translating it. But that early edition, they wouldn't put in the Sanskrit. But I was reading it anyway. And if you saw the translations, they were all in this elevated Benglish. combination of Bengali and English. So I started reading the purports, and Prabhupada was saying, one must accept the spiritual master, Tadvidi Pranipatena, Pariprashnena Sevayam, Upadekshanti Jnanam Jnaninastatmadarshina. One must approach the spiritual master and inquire for him submissively and engage in service. I was reading, and I said, wow, if I read this book, I'm going to have to do this. I don't think I'm ready to do this yet. So I put the book back on the shelf. And I started all again. And then the thought came to me, if I don't read that book, if I don't take that book, I might never read that book. So I went back and I pulled the book off the shelf and I started looking at it again. And again, I was thinking, I'm not ready for this. So I put it back on the shelf. And this seemed to go on forever. It was maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And unfortunately, I put it back on the shelf and didn't take it. But the devotees, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, they were having programs at the University of Miami. Nabiram was presenting the fifth canto. No, not the fifth canto. He was presenting the Vedic view of the structure of the universe. And he was saying, the scientific view, nothing you can be sure of. We're going to say it's wrong and change it. But here, this is the real eternal form, the real eternal knowledge. And I was attracted. I tried to get him to give me the book without paying for it. I didn't get the book. But he should say, oh, it's okay, you should just give it to me. But no, the way to understand Krishna is through devotional service. There's no other way. So that was the first time I met Srila Prabhupada. And another time, when I got Prabhupada's association, we were traveling Sankirtan, and we would go out to the traffic lights and parking lots, And we worked our way across the country to go to Los Angeles, or was it San Francisco? It was San Francisco. And we pulled up to the temple, and guess who pulled up right behind us? His divine grace, Richard Swami Prabhupada. Almost drizzling, you know. So we got out of the van and we saw Prabhupada, and of course, you see a spiritual master, the first thing you should do is you immediately offer obeisances. But it had been raining and we'd gone wet. And well, if we offer obeisances, our clothes will get dirty, which was not a problem. But we had that might not be so nice. So just at that moment, one of Prabhupada's disciples took off his gumsha, shawl, what do you call it again? Anyway, he took off it. And he rolled it out and laid it down in front of Prabhupada's feet, like Sir Walter Raleigh. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, "What is this?" He said, "So your feet won't get wet, Srila Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, "Therefore I have shoes." And then the voice said, "Well, Prabhupada, it's already there on the ground." And Prabhupada said, "Because you are so foolish that you would roll it out on the ground, does that mean that I should be so foolish that I will walk on it?" And he walked to the side and went on. So then I realized that hearing about how Srila Prabhupada was reacting with his other disciples, he was also instructing me. So by hearing about um, Prabhupada's pastimes with his disciples and by reading his books, so many times I'll have the experience that Krishna is directly speaking to you. Prabhupada is directly speaking to you through the books. It's not imagination. So you're getting, actually, there are two ways to associate with two major ways to associate with the spiritual master. One is by vani, which means instruction, and the other is vapu, by physical closeness. And of the two, vani is the best. So we all have the best kind of association of Srila Prabhupada. The grandfather is kinder to the children than the father, and even kinder to his great grandchildren. So one should not be unhappy that I didn't get to be a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Well, one time some Krishna Vachitana was asked who you are. For Gopi Bharta Parakamalayo, Dasa Dasa Anudasa. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of the gopis. And the more we are servants in the spiritual world, the more we are advanced. In the material world, the more we are playing God, we think we're the most advanced. So we need to appreciate it. Well, thank you. I have this for okay. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Can you speak a little louder, please?
A devotee doesn't put anybody in difficulty.
The devotees are put.
Doesn't put anybody in difficulty.
All the devotees never put anyone. A pure devotee never puts anyone into difficulty.
But Kunti Madhava is praying for difficulties.
Because
Kunti Madhava is praying for difficulties.
she was praying for difficulty. Because Duryodhana and his party, they were not devotees. They were putting the Pandavas into difficulty all the time. They're trying to kill them. And because Mother Kunti was a devotee, pure devotee, she could not be put into difficulty. She was saying, let the difficulty come again and again, because when they come, you come. But we're not so pure yet that we never put anyone into difficulty. I don't, maybe a little bit here and there. We try not to, but very difficult. Actually, when we walk on the ground across the lawn, we're killing so many living entities. When we breathe, we're killing so many germs. That's why the Jains wear a mask. The germs go right through their mask. But the idea is there not to cause harm. We cannot avoid it sometimes. But because we're engaging in devotional service, Krishna says, I will free you from all sinful reactions. Arjuna had to kill his own relatives and friends. But because he was doing it for Krishna, there was no sinful reaction. Whatever we do for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga, that is purely spiritual. And whatever we do for our own mind and senses, that is material. Anything else? Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. Thank you very, very much. It's so wonderful to talk to audiences such as yourselves. I feel very inspired. I'm very grateful. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Srimad Bhagavad Gita.